There is a particular kind of man who moves through the world quietly. A man who does not chase attention, does not ask for applause, and does not try to prove himself to anyone. And yet, wherever he goes, people notice him, especially women. Not because he's loud, not because he's dominant in the traditional chest-puffed-out way, but because there is something about him that feels different, something that feels grounded, self-contained, and quietly powerful. This man is the Sigma male. He does not fit into the usual hierarchy. He does not rise to the top by competing with others, nor does he fall to the bottom by trying to please them. Instead, he steps outside the hierarchy entirely, carrying with him a presence that is both mysterious and deeply masculine. And this is where the obsession begins, an obsession many women aren't consciously aware of, because it isn't loud, dramatic infatuation. It's subtle, it's intuitive, it's the kind of attraction that grows in silence simply by observing the way he exists. Women notice the way he holds himself, not stiff, not posturing, but relaxed, as though he has nothing to fear and nothing to prove. They notice the way he listens, not to respond, not to impress, but to understand. They notice the way he speaks, not to dominate the conversation, but to add depth to it. And they notice the way he disappears, not in a dramatic fashion, but in a way that communicates inner peace rather than avoidance. In a world where so many men chase validation, a Sigma male becomes a psychological anomaly. He does not ask for attention, yet he receives it. He does not pursue admiration, yet people admire him. And he does not overly reveal himself, which only deepens the curiosity around him. Women feel drawn to these quiet contradictions, the independence paired with empathy, the detachment paired with presence, and the confidence paired with humility. They feel drawn to a man who seems guided by his own internal compass, untouched by social pressure or expectation. Today, we explore the real psychological reasons behind this. Why women become obsessed with Sigma males and often don't even know it. Number one, his silence creates genuine presence. A Sigma male's silence is not emptiness, it is deliberate, grounded intention. In a world that moves quickly and rewards constant noise, his quiet presence stands out as something rare and strangely comforting. Women often describe feeling unusually calm around men who are not rushed, reactive, or desperate to dominate the conversation. This isn't accidental. Psychologists have long observed that humans subconsciously read emotional cues through tone, pace, and presence before they process actual words. When a man is calm and unpressured, the nervous system of the person he's with begins to mirror that state, a phenomenon known as emotional contagion. This is why a Sigma's silence feels like oxygen rather than awkwardness. He is not withholding attention. He is creating space for authenticity to breathe. His quietness is not passive but intentional. It allows connection to unfold instead of being forced. Women intuitively sense this as emotional safety, something far more valuable and far rarer than superficial charm. In that calm space, conversations deepen naturally. She feels heard without him having to say much. His lack of performative behavior signals that he is secure within himself, which removes pressure from the interaction. There is no competition, no need to impress, and no rush to fill every second with words. Research in interpersonal communication shows that people are more attracted to those who make them feel understood, rather than entertained. The Sigma male's silence gives her room to reveal parts of herself she rarely shares with others. She finds herself speaking more freely, not because he demands it, but because his presence makes it feel safe to do so. His quietness also amplifies his attention. When he listens fully. When he looks at her, he looks with intention, not distraction. This kind of focus is increasingly uncommon in a world of fragmented attention and constant digital noise. It signals maturity, self-control, and emotional stability, traits that psychology consistently links to high-value masculine behavior. And perhaps most intriguingly, his silence creates an air of mystery, not the artificial, hard-to-get kind, but the natural mystery of a man who knows himself deeply and moves through life with clarity. Women don't feel overwhelmed by him, they feel drawn in. His silence is like a doorway. They don't know what's behind it, but they feel compelled to step closer. In the end, a Sigma male's silence is not a lack of expression, but a form of emotional intelligence. It invites connection rather than demanding it. It creates calm instead of chaos. And for women, that calm feels like home. Number 2, he displays independence without arrogance. Women are subconsciously drawn to men who can stand alone without making their independence a spectacle. And this quiet equilibrium is one of the most psychologically compelling traits a Sigma male carries. In human behavioral studies, independence is often associated with competence and emotional stability. But what makes the Sigma's version different is the absence of ego. He does not announce that he is self-reliant, does not flaunt his solitude, and does not frame it as a rebellion against society. Instead, his independence emerges as a natural state of being, shaped by internal clarity rather than external performance. Psychologically, this aligns with a principle known as self-determination theory, which highlights autonomy as a foundation for motivation, confidence, and well-being. Women subconsciously recognize this autonomy as a marker of a man who is grounded, centered, and self-possessed. He is not detached out of bitterness, nor isolated out of superiority. He is simply secure within his own inner world. This creates a rare kind of emotional gravity. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans are naturally drawn to partners who appear capable of navigating the world with competence but are also emotionally safe to connect with. A Sigma male embodies this duality. His independence signals capability, while his lack of ego signals safety. He is not threatened by a woman's presence, success, or voice because his identity is not dependent on external validation. This builds what psychologists call relational stability, the ability to be with someone without clinging to them or pushing them away. The Sigma's self-reliance without arrogance also demonstrates high emotional intelligence. He is self-aware enough to know what he can handle alone, humble enough to accept help when truly needed, and wise enough not to posture for admiration. In modern social dynamics, where many men confuse aloofness with strength or confuse dominance with leadership, this calm, balanced independence becomes rare and magnetic. Women sense the difference immediately. A man who stands alone by choice feels vastly different from one who stands alone out of insecurity. A Sigma's independence is rooted in purpose, not avoidance. He listens more than he speaks, observes more than he reacts, and leads through presence rather than pressure. This quality creates a subconscious signal that he is emotionally mature, psychologically regulated, and spiritually centered, traits that make women feel both intrigued and at ease. His ability to be whole on his own without flaunting it forms a natural attraction that requires no performance. Number 3, his emotional control feels safe. He doesn't explode, overreact, or crumble under stress. Instead, he remains steady. This emotional discipline is not just a personality trait, it is a psychological and biological signal that has carried meaning for thousands of years. In evolutionary psychology, humans naturally gravitate toward individuals who demonstrate stability under pressure. In ancestral environments, a man who could stay calm during conflict, scarcity, or danger increased the survival chances of everyone around him. Women, who historically needed to select partners capable of navigating threats without panic, developed a subconscious attunement to this calmness. Today, even though society has changed, the instinct remains. A man who stays composed sends the same message. I am capable. I can protect. I can handle life without collapsing. What makes this steady presence even more powerful is that it isn't loud or performative. It's not the kind of forced toughness some men display when they raise their voice or try to dominate a room. True emotional control is quieter. It shows up in the way he thinks before responding, the way he holds his body still instead of fidgeting, and the way he can listen without becoming defensive. Modern psychology calls this high emotional regulation, a trait linked to better leadership, healthier relationships, and increased life satisfaction. Women notice this even when they don't consciously realize it. They feel it in how safe they feel around him, how predictable his reactions are, and how grounded the environment becomes in his presence. Research in attachment theory even suggests that people naturally gravitate toward individuals who give off signals of secure attachment. Calm voice, relaxed posture, low impulsivity, and the ability to self-soothe. These traits communicate reliability. They communicate maturity. They communicate that he won't become a source of chaos in their life. But beyond the scientific explanation, there is also something deeply human and emotionally satisfying about a man who stays steady. His calmness gives permission for others to relax. His presence becomes a stabilizing force in social settings. He becomes the person people look to during uncertainty because his quiet, unwavering demeanor makes things feel manageable. Women especially pick up on this because emotional steadiness allows trust to grow effortlessly. It creates a sense of emotional shelter, a kind of psychological sanctuary in a world full of overstimulation and unpredictability. A man who can remain grounded is not simply attractive, he is rare. And in a sea of men who are quick to anger or easily overwhelmed, the one who stays calm stands out as exceptional, intriguing, and deeply magnetic without even trying. Number 4, his mystery activates curiosity. A Sigma male doesn't reveal everything, not out of manipulation or emotional games, but because he has spent years building a private, inner world that he fiercely protects. This quiet sense of mystery is not an act. It's the natural result of a man who thinks deeply before he speaks, observes before he acts, and trusts himself more than he trusts the noise of society. Psychologists describe this as high intrapersonal intelligence, the ability to understand one's own thoughts, emotions, and motivations with unusual clarity. Men like this often grow up as independent thinkers, and because of that, they learn early on to rely on their own judgment rather than seeking validation from others. This creates a calm, steady presence that people, especially women, can feel immediately. While many people express everything they feel in real time, a Sigma male filters his emotions with an inner discipline that is increasingly rare. That subtle distance, that sense that there is more to him beneath the surface, awakens one of the strongest instincts in human psychology: curiosity. Women are particularly drawn to this quiet unpredictability because it contrasts with what they see every day in the modern world. Most people overshare. They broadcast every detail of their lives online, reveal their opinions loudly, and chase attention like it is a form of currency. But a Sigma male doesn't operate on that frequency. He is comfortable being unseen. He values solitude, reflection, and purposeful silence. Studies in social psychology show that scarcity increases perceived value, and his silence functions exactly like that. The less he reveals, the more people want to know. His distance is not coldness, it is intentional space, where he maintains clarity, self-respect, and emotional stability. Women sense this, and it triggers a natural fascination. They wonder what goes on in his mind. They notice the way he watches the world quietly, the way he chooses his words carefully, and the way he never tries to impress anyone. That restraint, that calm control, makes him feel like a man who cannot be rushed or swayed. Even in social settings, he remains grounded, self-contained, and immune to unnecessary drama. This gives him an aura of emotional sovereignty, meaning no one else's mood, opinions, or expectations can pull him out of alignment. In a world where so many people react impulsively, the Sigma's ability to stay centered feels rare and attractive. Women feel that he is not just hiding things, he is carrying depth. He communicates that there is more to discover, that he has layers, and that his story cannot be understood from a single conversation. And that quiet complexity makes him unforgettable. Number 5, he respects boundaries and expects the same. Women are naturally drawn to men who maintain a steady, grounded sense of self-respect, and the Sigma male embodies this principle with quiet precision. Unlike men who rely on dominance, emotional games, or attention-seeking behavior to prove their worth, the Sigma demonstrates value through calm consistency. His boundaries are not loud declarations, but lived standards shaped by psychology and reinforced by behavioral science. Studies in social dynamics show that people instinctively respect individuals who display stable self-worth, and Sigmas operate from this internal anchor. When confronted with disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional manipulation, a Sigma does not explode, argue, or feel the need to justify himself. Instead, he practices what psychologists call the power of behavioral withdrawal, a non-confrontational method that removes energy from unhealthy interactions. This quiet exit signals emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and a refusal to participate in chaos. What makes this so attractive is the contrast it creates. Many men tolerate poor treatment because they fear losing the relationship or being alone, but the Sigma male sees solitude as a strength, not a punishment. Studies show that individuals who are comfortable being alone are less likely to enter dysfunctional relationship patterns and more likely to be perceived as confident and secure. This aura of independence subtly communicates to women that he is with them by choice, not dependency. That difference changes how attraction works. Instead of chasing approval, he offers presence. Instead of demanding commitment, he inspires it. His withdrawal is not a passive-aggressive tactic, but a boundary grounded in emotional maturity. It tells the world, if the energy is not respectful, I will not participate. There's also a deeper psychological layer. Women often perceive a Sigma's calm detachment as a sign of emotional stability, someone who cannot be easily provoked, manipulated, or swayed. In evolutionary psychology, such stability is linked to leadership and reliability, traits historically associated with strong mates and protectors. But the Sigma does not project leadership through dominance. He projects it through control over himself. This is why his boundary setting feels different. There is no shouting, no threats, and no ultimatums, just a simple, decisive removal of his presence. And paradoxically, this quiet refusal to accept disrespect increases a woman's respect for him. Humans tend to value what values itself. We treat as precious what treats itself as precious. Number 6, he lives by internal principles, not social pressure. His values guide him, not trends, not opinions, not external validation, and this alone places him in a category of men that is increasingly rare. In a world where most people subconsciously bend themselves to fit whatever is popular or socially rewarded, a man who is internally anchored becomes a psychological anomaly. Research in evolutionary psychology shows that women are naturally drawn to men who display autonomy and internal stability because these traits signal emotional reliability, self-governance, and long-term decision-making ability. When a man's identity is governed by his principles rather than by the shifting noise of society, he carries a calm certainty that cannot be faked. This grounded presence activates a subtle but powerful effect. It communicates that he is not easily influenced, not easily shaken, and not easily bought. Women can sense when a man's mind genuinely belongs to himself, through his tone, his boundaries, his pacing, and even the way he holds silence. This self-possession creates a magnetic pull, not because he is trying to impress anyone, but because he radiates authenticity in a world overloaded with performance and pretense. Psychologists refer to this as coherent identity, the sense of inner alignment that makes a person predictable in character, but unpredictable in outcome. People trust men who know what they stand for, and women, in particular, associate this trait with emotional safety and long-term competence. The Sigma male does not chase relevance. He lives by his values, and relevance comes to him. He doesn't compete for attention, yet attention finds him. His grounded nature becomes a form of quiet charisma, steady, unwavering, and deeply attractive. Women are drawn not to the idea of controlling him, but to the rare peace of knowing he cannot be controlled by anyone else.